Hey, welcome or welcome back to the channel. I'm Chantal. Today we are going to transform this deck from this to this. You don't want to miss this. If you haven't done already, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press that notification bell for new video releases. Okay, so up until recently, this was the deck we were working with. On the surface, it didn't look that bad, but it had become really unstable. So after ripping up a couple of the boards, what we found was that the timber underneath was totally rotten. This meant that the whole structure was really unsafe, so we had to rip the whole thing up. When we ripped the boards up on the top, we noticed that the beams, the supporting beams, they were also rotten. So we had to rip those up as well. So what we decided is that we were going to change the whole thing. Having timber is, I really love it, but it was just causing a problem in terms of the water and damage and future potential problems as well. So we cleared the whole space and we decided that we were going to go with a concrete pour instead. Concrete is one of the most common construction materials because it's durable, low maintenance, fire resistant, and it's easy to use. And by comparison, a concrete patio will generally be cheaper to install compared to a timber deck. One of the potential flaws though with concrete is that if a particular force is placed on the concrete, it can break. One of the ways to combat this is to use reinforcement such as a rebar that we have placed under the concrete here. The reinforcing bar or rebar, it's a steel rod that is used to strengthen the concrete. When it's used, the concrete remains strong even when small cracks appear. My husband and I have done the majority of the work on this house ourselves, but for this project we decided to get help in because we know nothing about concrete and we really wanted to get it right. So what they did was to evacuate the area, and then they created these assemble forms basically by joining some of the timber to form the outer shape of the patio. They added some crushed rock to the bottom of the excavation, and that was to create more space for water drainage. This was one of the main problems that we had with the timber, and then they added the reinforcement, and then the concrete was poured in. After that, they really worked to make sure it was all level and straight. To add a bit of interest and to mix up the textures, we decided to add a timber merbau panel in the center of the deck. It also adds a bit of warmth to the concrete as well. So this is what it's looking like after it's all been set and left to dry. Initially we were gonna polish this concrete, but we later decided against that idea. This house is going to be put up for Airbnb, so I think if we were staying, we'd definitely have gone with that idea, but we decided to go for a more budget-friendly option, let's put it that way. So the next step is just cleaning it down, and I just use some outdoor cleaner to give it a good scrub down and remove all the leftover concrete and bits that are on there. There's a slight difference in height of where the deck used to be and where the concrete now comes to, so there's some bricks that need painting, so I just touched these up with some leftover paint. I didn't want to totally paint the concrete, but I did want to add like a subtle colour, so I've gone for this Porter's concrete wash. It's a translucent coating that just adds a subtle colour and softens that appearance of the concrete. To be honest, you can hardly see the difference, but I know it's done and I think it just makes it look a little bit more polished than it did before. So for the space just outside of that patio area, we've boxed that in with some timber, and the plan is to add some decorative stones just to mix it up a little bit and also to disguise the grass, which doesn't grow very well in this area at all. So it's time to start putting everything together I put the mat down, which I've chosen this really cute tribal mat, and put the table back in place. This is what it's looking like with the decorative stones in place. I've also added a couple of potted plants on there just to mix it up a little bit, and this is gonna also help with the drainage. So before I just put everything back together, I noticed that the bottom of these pipes and these frames are looking a bit raggedy. So I just cleaned them up and touch them up with a bit of paint. It's these kind of little things, attention to detail, that really let the side down, and I didn't want to kind of present the place with a new patio with these jobs unfinished. Okay, finally it was time to start putting everything together and dressing the space up. And this is the final look. The concrete is giving it a really modern, fresh look, and even though it is quite plain, the addition of the timber in the middle and those decorative stones at the side really adds some interest and texture. So this alfresco patio is directly adjacent to this sunken area, which has the stenciled floor, and the pattern on the stenciled floor is quite bold and bright. So having a more toned down look for this area definitely works, and they both kind of complement each other without it being too much. We've added some lights, some festoon lights across the top of the structure, and as always that just creates a really beautiful ambience, especially when you're sitting out there in the afternoon and the evening. I've had these for a little while now, but I still really love these antique tea chests. I just think that they add so much character, and it's much more interesting than having, you know, a really boring table to put these plants on. Alright, so that's kind of it for out here. I am going to be doing a full garden tour soon, an updated garden tour soon, because we're pretty much all done with the whole garden now. It's taken a while, but we're more or less there with it, so watch out for that coming up in the next couple of weeks. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you soon.